Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio dos luceros que cuando los abro, perfecto distingo lo negro de blanco y en alto cielo su fondo estrellado y en las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario, con él las palabras que pienso y declaro, madre, amigo, hermano, y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma del que estoy amando, amando. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la marcha de mis pies cansados, con ellos anduve ciudades y charcos, playas y desiertos, montañas y llanos, y la casa tuya, tu calle, tu patio, tu patio. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio el corazón que agita su marco cuando miro el fruto del cerebro humano, cuando miro al bueno tan lejos del malo, cuando miro al fondo de tus ojos claros. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la risa y me ha dado el llanto, así yo distingo dicha de quebranto, los dos materiales que forman mi canto y el canto de ustedes que es el mismo canto, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, gracias a la vida, 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 me ha dado tanto, gracias a la vida.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to such a momentous occasion in the history of our lives, in our communities. We welcome you, the graduates that are being honored tonight. We welcome you, esteemed guests. families especially, and the communities that have supported our beautiful US ELAM graduates. Tonight, on this August evening, um, is a moment where we see the coming together of the vision of two giants in the history of Latin American School of Medicine. We have Comandante Fidel Castro Ruz and the late Reverend Lucius Walker, both of whom contributed to the making of this project and the possibility of us celebrating yet again another set of médicos del Ejército de Bata Blanca. And we cannot forget that in this same month of August, those two giants were born. And so it is only befitting that in a moment where one would have been 95 years old and the other 91, we come together to celebrate the fruit of their labor, but all the more so the fruit of your labor as graduates who have dedicated 7 years in studying medicine in Cuba. So without further ado, I want to welcome you all, giving thanks for this moment in a very, very trying time for us all in the world. And currently for our Cuban families on the island, the struggle could not be even more real because there is a storm, a hurricane threatening at the moment. So our thoughts and our prayers stand with them as we celebrate this moment that is also a fruit of the labor of the Cuban people. So with that being said, I would like to give the floor to our fearless leader, the executive director of IFCO Pastors for Peace, Ms. Gail Walker.
You're muted, Gail. Gail, unmute yourself.
I am working to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Yes. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was saying, I don't know about fearless, but I appreciate that, Dr. Samira. Too kind. I just wanted to say a few words of welcome to our friends and welcome you to this graduation celebration for the US ELAM class of 2021. I want to welcome, of course, our special guests, including Ambassador Yuri Gala, Reverend Dr. William Barber, members of the IFCO ELAM Medical Advisory Committee, the IFCO Board of Directors, and supporters of the ELAM program. But most importantly, I extend a sincere and warm welcome to each and every one of the graduates and their family members and friends. Dr. Olive Albanese, Dr. Sol Bakali, Dr. Adonai Castillo, Dr. Corey Johnson, Dr. Miramore, Dr. Naira Muhammad, Dr. Damasio Adusanya, Dr. Juan Ramos, Dr. Alexander Ruiz, Dr. Alexandra Skeeter, and Dr. Darian Zubia. This is the community's opportunity to acknowledge you and all the hard work you've done to accomplish this milestone. We are accustomed to gathering, of course, in person to recognize our graduates. But as we all know, COVID has prevented us from doing so yet again this year. But graduates, please know that our congratulations are no less sincere. We're so very proud of you and have great confidence in the kind of community-minded physicians you will be. As Dr. Samira Adri said, you will be walking in the footsteps of incredible graduates who came before you, as well as the visionaries who made this program possible, our beloved Fidel Castro and Reverend Lucius Walker. And finally, I want to acknowledge the community members from across the country who have gathered to celebrate with us, who have come to celebrate you tonight. These are the friends and extended family members who have supported you over the years. Some you know, and some you may not. But the point is that this beautiful ELAM project has brought together so many people who appreciate the vision that Fidel Castro brought when he offered this wonderful opportunity at the Riverside Church, the historic Riverside Church in Manhattan, when he offered this scholarship program to train young, culturally competent doctors across the globe to care for people in their own communities. It truly does take a village, and always remember that you are surrounded by a community that honors you and has faith that you will forever be a member of the army of white coats committed to revolutionizing healthcare in this country, one graduate at a time. Congratulations, graduates, and thank you for being here.
Right on. Thank you, Gail, for those words of welcome. Now we have the distinguished honor of presenting Ambassador Yuri Gala. He is a career diplomat trained at the prestigious Raul Roa Garcia Higher Institute of International Relations in Havana. He has served in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 1994 and recently served as ambassador of Cuba in Jamaica from 2009 until 2013. And also recently served as Director of Bilateral Affairs in the General Division of the United States within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Cuba, but now currently holds the position of, sorry. If everybody participants, if you could please mute yourselves for the sake of no noise interference, we understand it happens. Thank you. He is now in the position of Permanent Deputy Representative of Cuba at the United Nations in New York. It is an honor to have the Honorable Yuri Gala with us tonight, representing the great nation that has made an indelible mark in our lives. Ambassador, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Dear Gail, dear IFCO staff, graduates, thank you for the invitation to attend the IFCO ELAM 2021 virtual graduation ceremony. Good evening to all participating in this important event. Buenas noches. It is indeed an honor for me to participate in tonight's ceremony representing the permanent mission of Cuba to the United Nations. I'd like to start by congratulating all of US graduates of this year. They have had 6 years of more perhaps of an intense studies of medicine in Cuba. And I'm sure it has been a long and quite active journey for them, filled with a lot of sacrifice, dedication, and commitment. Dear graduates, you have not only learned the theory and practice of medicine, but also how it is to live in a developing country such as Cuba. After years of studying, you are now graduates from the prestigious ELAM school. And in the process, obviously, you've become fluent in Spanish, made new friends, get to know professors and other persons who are there. In a summary, you now have a better understanding and knowledge of Cuba, a resilient island in the Caribbean, which is proud of its history, committed to defending against all odds its sovereignty and true independence gained back in 1959. It is also a moment, I should say, of celebration for the families of the graduates. Far from Cuba, relatives and friends provided support, advice, and encouragement to those graduates. Families and friends should feel very proud for the graduates and their accomplishments. Tonight's ceremony closes a cycle in the lives of the graduates all. and open a new one, also quite important. Let me also congratulate IFCO Pastor for Peace, which has accompanied today's graduates throughout the process, during more than 6 years in this case. IFCO has not only participated in the initial selection process, but also in providing guidance and support to all U.S. students during all the years of studying. Therefore, there is no doubt in my mind that it is also an accomplishment for IFCO and its committed staff under the quite active and able leadership of Gail Walker. I'd like to acknowledge the Cuban counterparts in this program, including obviously the school, ELAM, ECAP, and other relevant institutions back in the island for providing timely assistance and guidance to students and contributing to the advancement of this novel project, which has a history that it is worth remembering. It should be recalled that the Latin American School of Medicine, ELAM, was founded in 1998 as Cuba's response to the devastation of Hurricanes Mitch and George. Cuba understood that if poorest regions in our hemisphere were able to develop adequate healthcare infrastructures, they could save as many lives every year as had been lost in the hurricanes. Cuba offered full scholarships to enroll young people from nations affected by those hurricanes on the sole condition that once they graduated, they would return to their home countries and offer low-cost health services in their own underserved communities. It should be noted that during the visit of a Congressional Black Caucus delegation to Cuba, which was promoted by IFCO Pastor for Peace in the year 2000, one of the members of Congress remarked to President Fidel Castro that there were large areas in his home district that do not have a single physician. President Fidel Castro quickly responded with an offer of full scholarships for students from low-income and medically underserved regions of the United States to study medicine in Cuba. Furthermore, in September 2000 at the Riverside Church, Fidel offered 250 scholarships per year. But for the first pre-medical course, he explained that 500 could be granted to include other minorities. The offer made by Fidel was received with rejoicing and enthusiasm by friendly institutions and members of the Solidarity movement. However, no one was ready at the time to give concrete expression to the idea except Lucius Walker, whose response was immediate and positive. That offer to U.S. students was intended to be more than a short-term solution. It is known that many young people in the United States cannot dream of studying medicine because of the economic cost. The first students from the U.S. arrived at ELAM in the spring of 2001 to receive Spanish and pre-medical classes. Since then, and I should emphasize this, IFCO has been duly coordinating this groundbreaking scholarship program for the United States students. It has consolidated a system of care and preparation of students for the revalidation of degrees, the steps, and their future insertion in the U.S. health system. The 12 U.S. students graduating this year will join the previous 196 U.S. graduates for a total of 208, and I'm sure that a number of them are already practicing or receive residency placements. The participation of U.S. students in the ELAM program is an important component of the humanistic legacy of Lucius Walker and IFCO Pastor for Peace. The said endeavor has become one of his greatest achievements. After the sad passing of Lucius, his daughter Gail took over with the support of an also committed and skillful staff. Gail has taken the project to higher levels, and it is not only to have them graduated, but to do everything in their power to guarantee the graduates' insertion into the complex U.S. healthcare system. If given the chance, I'm sure today's graduates will now have the possibility to make a meaningful contribution to the U.S. population and be also part of the efforts to confront COVID-19 and other health-related needs, especially in low-income communities. In closing, dear friends, allow me to say some additional words to tonight's graduates. First, ELAM has given you all not only the knowledge to be a good health practitioner, but more importantly, the knowledge to be a sensitive one. It has also taught you to be a resilient person when the challenges and dangers are high, and to treat and value patients not as a merchandise, but rather as a human being. In his words at the inauguration of ELAM, and I should recall this, President Fidel Castro said, and I quote, allow me to read it, "The most important thing will be your total dedication to the noblest and most humane of professions, saving lives and preserving health. More than doctors, they will be zealous guardians of what is most precious to human beings, apostles and creators of a more humane world." End of quote. That's why I think that you may always remember that the scholarships given to you by Cuba are a concrete example of our spirit of solidarity to the needed people in other countries. You know, for Cuba, as a developing country facing very unique external threats and challenges, it is not about giving others what we have to spare, but rather sharing the little resources that we have. I'm sure that all of you have seen that many times in Havana and in some other provinces in Cuba. Dear graduates, families, friends, I think for them, for the graduates, they should enjoy this unique moment in your lives. And I personally look forward to talking to you at some point in the future, either by phone or by video conference or in person here at the Permanent Mission of Cuba to the United Nations in New York City. It will be always my pleasure. So may the legacy of Lucius Walker and Fidel Castro live on your commitment and dedication to social justice and care for fellow citizens. All the very best to you all, and thank you very much. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Honorable Yuri Gala. No hay precio para la educación que hemos recibido. That is a powerful reminder of the priceless gift of education that Cuba has given us in our medical training, and it cannot be appraised monetarily. It is truly priceless. Bringing us to another critical point of reflection, which is how priceless prayer and meditation is and the role it plays in directing our paths and energies. We are blessed to have Reverend Dolimar LeBron with us tonight to deliver the invocation for tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. On behalf of the First Spanish United Methodist Church, commonly known as the People's Church in East Harlem, we just want to send all the love and all the blessings and prayers and positive energy to all the graduates. You have so many people who are proud of you, who are encouraged by you, and we're all grateful to be able to be here to celebrate you. Will we all just take a deep breath and just prepare ourselves for the invocation? Almighty One, creator of all that is good, the one who makes ways out of no ways, most gracious and most powerful God, we welcome your spirit that is already here among us, your spirit of love, your spirit of justice, your spirit of truth, your spirit of solidarity. This evening we gather to celebrate, and today's celebration is of and for the people. Today we are celebrating the story of some resilient young people who, against unmeasurable odds, stood up to immovable objects and saw them move. And so, God, we give you thanks. We thank you for the memories that they've created, for the relationships built, for the lessons learned, for all that was experienced and lived in these years of study. But most of all, God, we thank you that when the question was asked, what will they stand for? What kind of human beings will they be really? What kind of life will they choose to live? What will they be willing to lay their life down for? How will they take care of one another? When these questions were asked, these young graduates responded with dedicating their lives in the service of others. Responded to saving lives and to preserving health. They responded with their hands and with their feet, but most importantly with their hearts. And so my hope and my prayer is that the spirit of all the freedom fighters, our ancestors, and so many who have paved the way, may their spirits present themselves to the ones who are trustworthy, and may we all prove ourselves worthy of that trust. And so, God, we take solace in your presence. We find strength in your spirit. We look to those before us and remember that they, like us, did not know what lied in the wilderness for them, but they still stepped forward, trusting that another world was possible. And so we pray that your spirit pour out among your people this evening, that it give us the power and the vision to do what must be done, because we who believe in freedom cannot rest, dare not rest. We will not rest. And so, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far on the way, thou who has by thy might led us into that light, may this, God, keep us forever in your path, in your light, in your love, in your hope, in your courage. Keep us, O God. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Amen. Ashe. Thank you, Reverend LeBron, for those edifying words. Now we have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker for tonight. That lovely task falls on the shoulders of Comrade Dr. Michelle Strongfields. Dr. Strongfields is the executive director of I Am Science Education Group. She's a long-time grassroots community health organizer, and there's never a dull moment with her on IFCO's Medical Advisory Committee. So over to you, Dr. Strongfield.
This is a surprise. I was not expecting to have words. I just want to say, I don't know, what am I to say? I just want to say congratulations to the graduates. I am so very, very proud of you all. I want to say thank you to Reverend Barbara for putting up with, I am a dedicated stalker, and I am just very proud that he decided to join us. I'm really happy that you decided to join us tonight. And I want you to take a look at these young people who are about to be out in the world and doing the right things and making sure that they are attending to the people who have the least opportunity and the least access. So thank you so very much. And despite being surprised at the last minute, because I didn't expect to have any words to say, I'm happy to have the opportunity to maybe for some of the young people to introduce you to them so that they get to see that there are other people before them who have the right thing in mind, who look to the people who are least available, who are least able to access some of the healthcare that they will be providing. So thank you, everyone. And I look forward to your words, Reverend Barbara.
Thank you so much.
if I may briefly jump in to give the full introduction of Reverend Dr. William Joseph Barber II. He is the president and senior lecturer of Repairers of the Breach, co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. Bishop with the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries, visiting professor at Union Theological Seminary, pastor of Greenleaf Christian Church, Disciples of Christ in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and the author of 4 books. We Are Called to Be a Movement, Revive Us Again, Vision and Action in Moral Organizing, The Third Reconstruction, Moral Mondays, Fusion Politics, and the Rise of the New Justice Movement, and Forward Together, a Moral Message for the Nation. Reverend Dr. Barber is also the architect of the moral movement, which began with weekly Moral Monday protests at the North Carolina General Assembly in 2013, and recently relaunched again online in August 2020 under the banner of the Poor People's Campaign. In 2018, Reverend Dr. Barber helped relaunch the Poor People's Campaign, which was begun by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, starting with an historic wave of protests in state capitals and in Washington, D.C., calling for a moral agenda and a moral budget to address the 5 interlocking injustices of systemic racism, systemic poverty, the war economy and militarism, ecological devastation, and the false moral narrative of Christian nationalism. There are currently 45 state coordinating committees across the country mobilizing around the Poor People's Jubilee platform, and We Must Do More, which is an acronym for Mobilize, Organize, Register, and Educate People for a Movement that Votes. On June 20th, some 2.5 million tuned in on Facebook alone for the campaign's mass Poor People's Assembly and Moral March on Washington, which originally was scheduled as an in-person event, but switched to digital because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands of others watched and listened on C-SPAN and other media. A highly sought-after speaker, Reverend Dr. Barber, has given keynote addresses at hundreds of national and state conferences, including the 2016 Democratic National Convention. He has spoken to a wide variety of audiences, including national unions, fraternities and sororities, motorcycle organizations, drug dealer redemption conferences, women's groups, economic policy groups, voting rights advocates, LGBTQ equality and justice groups, environmental and criminal justice groups, small organizing committees of domestic workers, fast food workers, and national gatherings of Christians, Muslims, Jews, and other people of faith. Reverend Dr. Barber spoke at the Vatican City in 2017 in response to Pope Francis's encyclic to the bishops of the church. Encyclical letter, Laudato Si, of the Holy Father Francis on care for our common home. And on June 18, 2018, Reverend Dr. Barber spoke before the 5th Uni-Global Union World Congress to more than 25 countries, during which time he was added to Black Achievers Wall in the International Slavery Museum in Liverpool, England. Reverend Dr. Barber has been conferred upon 10 honorary degrees. He has served as the president of North Carolina NAACP, the largest state conference in the South, from 2006 to 2017, and served on the National NAACP Board of Directors from 2008 to 2020. A former Mel King Fellow at MIT, he is currently visiting professor of public theology and activism at Union Theological Seminary and is a senior fellow at Urban Seminary. I think it's Auburn Seminary, sorry. Reverend Dr. Barber is regularly featured in media outlets such as MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and The Nation magazine, among others. Reverend Dr. Barber was named one of 2020's BET 100 Entertainers and Innovators as a social justice warrior, and he is one of the 2019 recipients of the North Carolina Award, the state's highest civilian honor. He is the 2018 MacArthur Foundation Genius Award recipient and Franklin D. Roosevelt Four Freedoms Award and 2015 recipient of the Puffin Award. And we could go on and on and on about Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II. It is an honor for us to have you here tonight, granting us the opportunity to bless our newly minted graduates of the Latin American School of Medicine. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Barber.
Well, thank you so much, dear sister, and thanks to God. And at the end of the day, as my grandmama used to say, we're just trying to earn our keep in this world. And the question that it really is, when it's all over, did anybody breathe a little bit easier because you lived? I am honored to be asked and humbled. I take this as a privilege. When my dear sister, whom I love and thank God in the movement, called me, Claudia, I immediately said, yes, let's figure out a way to work it. I did not know I'd be coming straight from West Virginia, having challenged Joe Manchin in the hot sun with poor white folk from the mines and hollers and black folk from the hood, but so it is. And to the two founders, Fidel Castro and Brother Williams, of this tremendous movement. And you know, I was thinking next year, the Poor People's Campaign is having a mass Poor People's Low Wage Workers Assembly Moral March on Washington, June 18, 2022, because we've done it twice by Zoom and live stream, but we really tend to do it physically, and hopefully COVID will be passed by then and allow it. And just literally in about an hour, I've got a meeting about different things that we need. And one of them is that we need a group of doctors to secure us that day who care for poor people and the least of these. And it's fortuitous that I'd be on this call tonight. And so I want to extend a formal invitation that the graduates and other doctors that come from this tremendous international school maybe head up the team of doctors that will help secure the thousands upon thousands of people that will be present in DC on June 18th. Let me say congratulations to all 12 of you from the Latin American School of Medicine. 6 years of disciplined study. And when I was talking to Claudia de la Cruz, she said to me, like Imhotep, you are prepared now to step out into the world as healers, ready to give back to underserved communities. You know, that's an oxymoron. On the one hand, to be a community, and then to exist in a world that would let you be underserved. How do you underserve humanity? It's got to be the greatest sin. In fact, in the Bible, the greatest of sins is pride. And the second greatest sin is mistreatment of the poor, the stranger, the immigrant, the least of these. You've been a recipient of Cuba's generosity, and now you're on this journey. And it's going to have its burdens. It's going to have its struggle, but good things, good work does that. But you have a work now that you've devoted your life to. I want to ask you never to forget the gift that got you where you are. The gift given by the Cuban government and the Cuban people, and how they have entrusted you to be, how shall we say it, revolutionary doctors. Not just doctors, but revolutionary doctors committed to serve, truly serve the people. And when you look forward, be like the Sankofa bird and go forward by taking a glimpse backwards. And so you can see all of the friends, all of the doctors, all of the people, the current executive director, all of the folk around the world who in any way have played a part. I had an uncle that used to say, if you see a turtle on a stump, be clear that the turtle didn't get up there by himself. That was his way of saying, don't ever forget, and let that memory guide you on the days that things get hard. Remember for which you were born and for which you were educated. I understand there are over 200 US graduates now, and you make up a cadre of over 30,000, that's incredible, graduates of the Latin American School of Medicine. I understand that the majority of the graduates are Black and brown youth. Nearly 70% are practicing in these undeserved communities across the country. What a contribution. Because in the truth of the matter is, healers save the world. Now, I'm a preacher with no apology. And I was thinking about how we often in the Bible lift up the great liberator Moses in many traditions as a model of what it means to take on pharaohs then and pharaohs now. You know, Pharaoh's spirit still lives. Pharaoh was somebody who loved to build buildings to himself while he oppressed the people. He loved to gather up money unto himself while he stole the wages of the people. Pharaoh cared nothing about the health care of the slaves as long as they did the hard work of what he wanted. Pharaoh loved to put his name on his buildings and brag about who he was. Pharaoh loved to crush people and not cure people. Pharaoh still lives. And Moses comes along, and we often talk about Moses, but the truth is, if you read the text, there would not have been a Moses without two women, doctors, if you will, who were dedicated to serve the slaves. One was named Shiphrah. The other was named Pua. Now, in the Bible, they're called midwives, but in the ancient world, midwives were as trained in gynecology as any doctor ever was. And they had to do their work without epidurals, without the kind of sanitation we have today. And if it had not been, Mr. Ambassador, for Shiphrah and Pua, there'd have never been a Moses. And if you have any kind of Holy Ghost imagination, to my dear sister who prayed, Moses needed medical care all along the way because he couldn't talk. He needed somebody, he needed a speech pathologist somewhere along the way. And God somehow provided that. But Moses struggled with his abilities even into his life. It was when God called him to speak to Pharaoh, he said, but I can't talk. And God said, but who do you think made you? And God said, but I will give you assistance. I kind of think like God was saying, wait a minute, if I let those two women bring you here, I know how to take care of you and use you for your purposes while you're here. But there would have been no Moses without those two female doctors, midwives, ancient gynecologists, obstetricians, who delivered him in the worst of circumstances. How many Moseses will you all deliver? Could it be assigned to your hands to deliver the next great generation of leaders or to care for them? And could the hope and the healing of the world come because your hands and your minds give that hope the kind of medical care necessary for them to live? Healers, doctors, healers literally save the world. Now, when you get over to the New Testament, Jesus, at the end of his life, starts talking about nations and what nations, how nations are going to be judged. Not how people, but how nations are going to be judged. He never says anything about the size of the skyscrapers. He never says anything about the bigness or the badness of their bombs, the mother of all bombs. He doesn't talk about that. He never says anything about how much gold they have in their forts or in their banks or in their vaults. He says, when the end comes, the nations will be gathered together. And they'll be separated, the sheep on one hand and the goats on the other. And the king will say, come unto you, blessed of my father. You have an inheritance now. Your nation is okay. Your nation shall survive. because when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, an immigrant, you invited me in. And when I was in prison, you visited me. And when I was sick, you healed me. That's going to be the test of the nations when the teleos comes to its ending, when eschatological reality meets time, when our existential realities meet eternal existence. When I was hungry, when I was naked, when I was in prison, when I was an immigrant, when I was sick. Doctors, healers literally have the ability to save the world. In my tradition, because I'm a conservative, liberal, theological, Pentecostal, disciple, Christian, revolutionary. But in my tradition, both healers have the ability to save the world, like those two obstetrician gynecologists Purah did to Moses by raising up someone who would become a great deliverer, but also have the ability to save the world in the future if the nation listens. Because nations will not be judged by the things we tend to judge nations by, but in all is said and done, nations will be judged by how they healed the people. My father wanted to be a doctor. One of the reasons I accepted this invitation, Claudia, if she's on the line, is my father wanted to be a doctor. He graduated valedictorian from a small country one-room school in eastern North Carolina. He graduated valedictorian from that school. He went on to Elizabeth City State Teachers College for 2 years, got drafted into World War II in the segregated Navy. After the war was over, went to St. Augustine University, majored in physics and general sciences, graduated at the top of his class, but he couldn't go to UNC. He couldn't go to Duke. His father had died when he was 8 years old. His mother was a single Black woman in the 40s. And he couldn't afford Howard, he couldn't afford Morehouse, he couldn't afford Meharry. So he went to Georgia to start working, hopefully to raise the money. He wanted to be a doctor, but he never wanted to get wealthy. He never wanted to be a doctor to have a title. He told me he wanted to be a doctor so he could go back to the poorest areas in the South, in North Carolina, a southern state, and be a doctor activist, where he would have an office where people would come, he would treat them, he would do house visits, but he would also train them in activism and be a part of the fight for civil rights. He never got to go to med school. He ended up getting called. He was a teacher, and he had death threats down in Georgia. He ended up going to Indianapolis and going to medical school and became another kind of healer. He became a science teacher who helped rural kids become so proficient in science that they could go on to major in pre-med and then later on go to med school. And he became a pastor of the good news to the poor. He became a pastor of the good news of healing. And truthfully today, as I speak to you, I'm literally thinking about my father's hope. And in some way, I see how I didn't know about this school, but how you all fulfill his vision and how honored he would be if he was alive to be doing what I'm doing tonight. You know, again, in the Bible, the prophets were healers. People often don't think about that, but in the ancient Bible tradition, the prophets were healers. They not only spoke truth to power, but they healed communities. Jesus was a healer. I once said to one of these so-called right-wing Christian nationalists, I don't understand why you all are so against healthcare and then you claim to follow Jesus. And if Jesus did anything, everywhere he went, he healed the sick and never charged a leper a copay. I really don't understand your problem. I don't understand how you claim to love Jesus and you hate so many people when all Jesus went around doing was breaking the rules, healing folk that weren't supposed to be touched, like women with issues of blood and lepers and the lame. That's all he did. And he did it as a sign of protest. A sign of protest against the powers that were in his day that would literally let people lie at pools sick and die, like at the pool of Bethesda. And yet the Bible says Jesus literally intentionally went to the sickest pool in the community and found the sickest person there with the least ability to pay anything, who had suffered 38 years with no doctor. And that's where Jesus went. That's where Jesus ended up. And then one of the names of God, one of the very names of God, of all the names, you know, Jehovah Jireh is one, God will provide. Jehovah Nissi, God is my banner. But Jehovah Rapha, the Lord is healer. God's one of the anthropomorphic characteristics of God is healer. So to be a healer is to literally move in the Spirit of God. But to be healed is that particularly desire to go among those who truly need to be healed and are truly sick, and oftentimes made sick by the sick oppressive systems of this world. Takes spirit, takes courage. It's interesting to me that Martin H. Fisher said, to be a good doctor, you got to have observation. You got to take a look. You got to see what you see. You got to have reason. You got to think through when you're deciding on what prescriptions, what diagnosis to render. He said, then you got to have human understanding. You got to have some decent bedside manners and a concern and an understanding for people. And then he says, but you got to have courage. To be a good physician, you must have courage. I might not be right, but I often define courage as this. You got to come with some rage against the injustice. You got to come with some, I'm sick and tired of seeing this. Courage. Now, I'm not going to be a destroyer, but to have courage does mean to have a sense of fight. I'm not giving up on this community just because the rest of the world has. I'm not giving up on these people just because they've taken the hospital out of their community and they've walked away from them. Courage. Hippocrates said, whenever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. In other words, you can't really love the art of medicine if you don't love humanity, all of humanity, every piece of humanity, every being. And we need courage today. We need love for humanity. Almost 100 million people, and this is 2017, are pushed into extreme poverty every year because they're out of pocket expenses for health care. In a world that has far more than enough to make sure everybody's cared for. At least half of the world's population, billions, cannot obtain health services. In 2017, 18, the World Health Organization said this. And large numbers of households are getting pushed further and further into desperation and dying because they cannot obtain essential health care. 800 million people spend at least 10% of their household budgets on health expenses for themselves, a sick child, and a family member. And for almost 100 million people, these 10% is too much. 10% is too much. And when they finally have to make the decision whether to live or to eat. And if they decide to live and use that money for health care, then they have to survive. 108 million people have to survive on less than $1.90 a day. The world needs you with courage and a love for humanity. Now, some might say, well, yeah, but that's not in America. Oh, well, in America, the richest nation, so-called in the world, is the only of the 25 richest nations that does not provide health care for all of its citizens. We talk down about other countries. We claim this, some people claim that this elitism about our nation, about our so-called compassion, and I guess there are parts of compassion that are real, but we are still, of the so-called wealthiest nation, the only of the 25 that connects your health care to your job and not to your humanity. In this country, 15 states said hell no to Medicaid expansion, and it wasn't even costing them. They just said, we don't want it. In my state alone, they denied health care to 500,000 people, 300,000 white people, 180,000 Black people, and the others, Latino and others. And they did it, and I'm through, in 15 minutes in a hearing. They did not even allow doctors to come and testify why Medicaid expansion was important. And these same people claimed they love soldiers, but 30,000 veterans were also denied in that process. And our people die. For every 6,000 people, hundreds die. Excuse me, for every 500,000 people, thousands die every year. One military contract from Boeing could pay for the health care in all of the states that deny Medicaid expansion. Before COVID, 700 people were dying a day from poverty. And we're talking now about getting back to 1,000 people a day, 2,000 people. But I don't want us to get comfortable with 700. 700 people were dying a day from poverty and the denial of health care every day, 250,000 people a year within America. America needs you, 12 disciples, if you will. And the same states that are voter suppression states, are low wage states, denial of health care states, in this country, over 3 million persons have contracted COVID. And we know one study says 60% of the people who died didn't have to die if the former administration had listened to the doctors and the public health officials rather than listening to greed and political manipulation. Over 600,000 deaths. More people have died from COVID than died in every war since World War I. And over 4 million worldwide. And here is the stat that I found out that grieves me so much. Of all the stats they're talking about, how many Black people died, how many white people died, the stats that even the United States is not keeping is how many poor people died. How many of the essential workers died? How many of the people that this country said, you are essential. Now, before COVID, you were just service workers, but now you're essential workers. Now, we're not going to give you health care because you're essential. We're not going to make sure that you get a living wage or sick leave or unemployment or more, not a moratorium on your mortgage, but a forgiveness. But we're going to call you essential. And by that, we mean you got to work because somebody has to cut our food. Somebody's got to clean our bathrooms. Somebody's got to clean our rooms and even if you die doing it, at least we will have called you essential. The first COVID bill that was passed in this country, 84% of the money went to corporations, not to the essential workers, not to the poor among us. Restaurant workers couldn't even qualify for unemployment because they don't make but $2.13 an hour plus tips. So they don't have a base pay large enough to even qualify for the unemployment money. But somebody said, you got to go to work. Who's not dying in COVID at mass level are the wealthy. Who's dying? The poor. What stat are we not keeping track of? That one. And so we need you. We need some doctors connected to humanity and to saving lives, not just putting up a shingle and knowing that you might become a millionaire. We need every one of you to practice medicine, to practice it until every child that needs help gets it and has access gets it, that every adult, till every adult has the treatment they need to, till every cure that can be found is found. We need you until the best health care is not a privilege for a few, but a right, a human right to everybody in this world created by Jehovah Rapha, God our healer. So we need you to have courage. We need you to love humanity. We need you never to forget why and how you were trained. And God knows we need you to help save and heal this world. With God's Spirit and with God's speed, go forth and do the work of healing. Amen.
Powerful. Powerful. Powerful.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Ashe. Thank
Amen.
Ashe. Amen. I hope you all heard and took notes of this important message shared by the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber with us. We can enumerate some of the lessons that we've learned in Cuba, which, you know, according to negative propaganda, is a people without God. But let me tell you, these are people who emanate godly principles, and we learn from them. And it is something that we should never forget. The same way Reverend Barber is telling us that those midwives are to be respected because they were the ones who brought in Moses, an important prophet, to a generation, is the same way we've been taught in Cuba to respect all elements of the healing community, especially those of us who come from communities that practice traditional medicines as well as conventional medicine, to respect that all source of knowledge came from the ancient times. And now some, like the Pharaoh that Reverend Barber referenced, exists now to tell us that our people don't know medicine. They don't know healing. So we must channel what we have been taught. I remember very well too, in my history and medicine class in ELAM, one of our famous history professors, Profe Daniel, would say, hay que ser consecuente con lo que creen. We have to be committed and dedicated and, you know, be consistent with what our principles are, what our values are, what our faith is. And that is another element that speaks to what Reverend Barber has shared with us. We have to be courageous. We have to feel the fire, much like what Comandante Che Guevara taught us, that we must feel the indignation of any kind of injustice against people. We must feel it. Just like we know that healers come in all shapes and forms, whether our parents went to formal school or not, they healed us and created us, and our communities created us to be who we are. They have played a role. It takes a village, as the African proverbs say, to raise a child. And we are examples of that. And not only that, is a specific quote from Comandante Fidel Castro Ruiz in one of his graduation speeches in 1999, where he laid out what the vision for ELAM graduates were supposed to be. He said, en la Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicina, lo que nosotros queremos es que los estudiantes de los hermanos países latinoamericanos se impregnan de la misma doctrina en que se educan nuestros médicos, de esa entrega total a su noble profesión futura, porque el médico es como un pastor, un sacerdote, un misionero, un cruzado de la salud y del bienestar físico y mental de las personas. That is where you see the juncture of where faith and science and the role it plays in uplifting and preserving the people comes into play. What he's saying is that we as doctors trained in the Latin American School of Medicine are supposed to be like pastors, supposed to be like priests, missionaries, to be crusaders of health, of the wellness, the physical wellness and the mental wellness of the people. And as we've been taught, we are supposed to see the patient as the biopsychosocial person, the whole person, as Reverend Dr. Barbara has shared with us. You cannot chop up a person when they come to you for healing. We have to see the whole picture. And so we have learned a lot of things in our Cuban education. Like I said, you can't put a price on it. So we have to continue to remember and give honor to the blessed words that have been shared with us tonight. And remember that you all have a baton to carry, a legacy to continue. And we can never lose sight of that, because a lot has gone into our training. A lot has gone into your training, and the fact that you have fought with grit and grace and humor, like we learned from our Cuban families, to face everyday struggles and be who you wanted to be, to fulfill the dreams that you have for yourself. And without further ado, I think it is very important for us to present formally the U.S. graduates of the Latin American School of Medicine, class of 2021. I will call each name and you will be spotlighted for everyone to see. Starting with Dr. Olive Albanese.
We do need them to turn on their video.
Please turn on your videos and unmute yourself.
I don't know how to turn on the camera.
I understand, Olive. This is part of the struggle of coming back to the, the States and learning about Zoom. I had that problem last year. There should be a button at the bottom of the screen. So if you, there you go. There we have Dr. Olive Albanese. Give it up for her. Thank you, Olive. And we have Dr. Sol Henrik Bakeli.
Thank you.
Good. Dr. Adonai Castillo. Is Adonai with us? No? Okay. Dr. Corey Johnson. Dr. Joshua Johnson.
Joshua.
Hey, Corey.
Yo.
Thank you for joining us. Looks like he's at work.
That's always.
Joshua and Dr. Damasio, the dream team, joining us live from Cuba. Dr. Miramore. Yay, Mira. Dr. Naira Muhammad.
Thank you. Yay! Congrats.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Naira. Dr. Damasio Olarewaju Odusanya. I'm sorry, Damasio.
Where's Naira?
Naira's there. We have to.
I'm here. I
Oh,
show my face.
All right.
There we go.
We want to see you.
Dr. Juan Manuel Ramos, is Dr. Juan with us?
I don't think so.
Okay. Dr. Alexander Ruiz.
Where is he? Where is he?
Yay! There we go. In his bata, ready.
Handsome. All right, handsome.
Dr. Alexandra Marie Skeeter.
Right.
Yay.
Buenas noches.
Thank you, Dr. Alexandra. Dr. Darian Zubia.
How come we didn't get Skeeter?
There we go. Whoa. Another Bata Blanca. And the mini me. Welcome. Awesome. These are the beloved, esteemed graduates of the class of 2021. We are missing a few, but they are with us in spirit. Please give it up and send your love and positive thoughts to them. We have following now a few special messages from some of the veteran graduates, those who paved the way for us, the trailblazers in this program. We will have Dr. Melissa Barber, who will be speaking and sharing a message, and then we will have a pre-recorded message from Dr. Sarpo Mason. So please stay over to you, Dr. Melissa Barber.
Good night. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Melissa Barber. It seems like the Barbers are like just taking over tonight. I'm like excited about that. First, I want to give reverence to God and all of my ancestors whose shoulders I stand on. Next, I give thanks to ELAM, IFCO, the IFCO Medical Advisory Committee, the Cuban government, the Cuban people for loving and embracing me all these years. And finally, I want to congratulate the 2021 U.S. graduates of ELAM and you all, the families and friends who have supported and loved them throughout this 7-year journey of their lives. I am so honored to be here tonight and share this moment with all of you because I was probably the first person at IFCO who welcomed many of these graduates to their medical journey. I had the privilege of walking all of them through their IFCO application process and subsequently watching them grow and mature into the doctors we all see today. The mommy and nurturer in me wants to yell and scream, "Those are my babies," and I'm so proud of them, as my aunt would do at every one of my milestone graduation moments, but I'll stay dignified tonight. What I have to say is mainly for the graduates, but I hope you all catch some nuggets of inspiration throughout my conversation with them. So to the graduates, I know that nothing about this journey was easy, but everything that you have endured has prepared you significantly for your future. One of my favorite quotes by former Cuban President Comandante Fidel Castro Ruiz and Dr. Adri started to say it. So I said, stop talking because you're like saying my speech. But my favorite quote from Fidel was, "For a doctor is like a shepherd, a priest, a missionary, a crusader for the people's health and physical and mental well-being." I love these words and have etched them in the depths of my heart and tell you to do the same because it is a reminder that the expectation and the charge of an ELAM-trained revolutionary doctor is different than any other doctor. To be named and counted as an ELAM graduate, a doctor of science and consciousness, one must understand that the mandates for you are several. One, to be totally devoted to your noble future profession. Two, to be sacred guardians of your community and the members within it. And three, to help your fellow brothers and sisters no matter where they are in the world. If you are anything like me, and many of you are, you will find yourselves going back to living in and also working in the marginalized communities from which you've come. I hail from the South Bronx, New York, also known as the Boogie Down. My community, which I love dearly, consists of some of the poorest of the 435 congressional districts that exist in the United States. We have a 29% poverty rate. 13% of the housing units belong to a concentrated pocket of public housing called NYCHA. My community exists within a food desert where the ratio of supermarkets to bodegas are 1 in 25, and the child food insecurity rate is 23.5%. A quarter of South Bronx kindergarten to 8th grade students suffer from obesity, which is 5 times New York City's rate of 5%. The rate of adult obesity, diabetes, and hypertension are 42%, 20%, and 38% respectively. During the pandemic, the unemployment rate within the South Bronx skyrocketed to 15%. And I watched my community be completely neglected by many elected officials, by the healthcare system, and even many of our community leaders. It was during this time that the mandates and expectations of my ELAM training kicked in full gear. As one living and serving in my community, I made sure that my community can count on me to teach them how to boost their immune systems and care for themselves in the home setting because of their fear of dying alone in overcrowded hospital hallways, which had no beds to receive them. I made sure that each weekend I sat outside of my complex, sometimes alone and sometimes with a crew of volunteers, to give out the donations of supplies of PPE that I collected from people within my networks. I was that colleague who also brought donations of PPE to fellow ELAM colleagues who worked in public hospital settings that had no supplies to successfully treat COVID patients. From that work, I collaborated with another ELAM graduate and created a community participatory research project called the COVID-19 Community Pesquisa Project, whose mission is to assess the direct and indirect impacts of COVID-19 on South Bronx communities, to educate my community about COVID-19 and other ailments, and to build a coalition of locally based community organizations who could address the needs of people in my community. I call our project the little engine that could and the perfect model of my ELAM training because it keeps growing without any real money. Everything has been on donation. It is truly built on love and passion for the community and a desire to serve and steward the physical and mental well-being of people's health. I'm happy to say that my work has not stopped there. It has included giving environmental justice tours to health and elected officials, among others, to fight for environmental justice for the South Bronx community. It involves collaborating with institutions like Columbia University and others to create citizen scientists in my community who help us study air pollution, measure noise radar and truck traffic, and the urban heat island effect within my community. My work has involved creating a community land trust with several of my comrades to create opportunities for real affordable housing, to build a community center in the near future called Hearts, which will focus on the 3 main pillars of health, education, and the arts for the South Bronx. The work has also included moving forward with our plans to develop a waterfront for my same neighborhood, which also protects the community from storm surges during hurricane season. Did I forget to mention that my community is also in a flood zone and was completely flooded and devastated by Hurricane Sandy? I mentioned these details to all of you because you are community doctors at the core of your being. And as community doctors, you will find yourselves thrust into the ravaged and devastated communities from which you've come. They will need a great deal of your help, and it will not look like just giving a pill to treat a physical symptom. It will not be the time to neglect your duty, or to forget the principles with which you have been imbued throughout the 7 years of your ELAM training. For some of you, your service may not be local and in the United States. You may, like me, have a heart for Haiti and decide that you want to serve Haiti in the aftermath of its recent earthquake, as I did in 2010. Wherever you decide that the next part of this journey will take you, I want you to remember that you are an ELAM doctor of science and consciousness. You have been charged to steward the well-being of people and mandated to love and serve humanity. Thank you, God bless you, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. Melissa Barber. As I said, a trailblazer, and you all just remember that everything we learn in disaster preparedness class at ELAM is very relevant to all the things we're seeing today in a world that's ravaged by climate change. So stay strong. Now we are going to go to Dr. Sarpo Mason, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight, but made a pre-recorded message for you all. And the beautiful part of her contribution as well is that she is the voice of the wonderful song that started this program. It's a song, Gracias a la Vida by Violeta Parra. And that song, in its words, you can see the message that she wants to impart to you all. But this is the message she had pre-recorded for you all. No audio?
Yeah, that's what I was telling
you. Can you all hear? Because I can't hear.
No. That's what I was telling you yesterday.
Sorry, I have to unmute myself. Got it.
Hello. Muchas felicitaciones a los graduados y ahora egresados de la Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicina de 2021. I am so proud of all of you and what you have accomplished, especially now through the pandemic of COVID. My name is Dr. Mamie Sarpoma Sefabwachi, and I am a graduate of ELAM of 2009. I would like to first off remind you that you are not only graduates of one of the most extraordinary and amazing medical schools in the world, you are now the leaders of your community. When I graduated from medical school in 2009, I was in your seats and I was very, I would say, worried and proud and anxious to go back home to my family. But I never stopped thinking about the Cuban people and my patients that made sure that I did my best in healing them and as we healed each other. I also want to remind you that this day is going to be one of many days that you are going to cherish. It might be a day that you discover a diagnosis in a patient that has been to so many doctors and nobody wanted to hear them, but you listened. That is all due to your training in Cuba. So just remember that the graduation continues and it will continue through your whole life, and you will celebrate every day, as I do. I am so proud of being a graduate of the Latin American School of Medicine, and I cannot wait to meet each and every one of you, as I've already met quite a few of you, but I can't wait to call you my colleague and graduate. May you guys have a beautiful graduation ceremony. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately I'm unable to, but I want you to listen to the words that I sang in the song, Gracias a la Vida, que me ha dado tanto. And I would like to say, Gracias a Cuba, que me ha dado tanto. Thank you so much. Take care.
Wonderful message from our comrade colleague, Dr. Sarpoma. Right The next item on our program is the delivery of the physician's oath, which we have the honor of being done by Dr. Mary Louise Patterson. And Dr. Patterson is a retired general pediatrician from Weill Cornell Medical College and New York Hospital in New York City. Born in Chicago to two leftist activists, Louise and William Patterson. She grew up in Brooklyn, New York. She earned her medical degree at Patrice Lumumba Friendship University in Moscow, USSR, and a master's of public health at the University of California, Berkeley. She's the first African-American woman to graduate from medical school in the USSR. She is a longtime activist, fighter for the people, and also an awesome comrade on the Medical Advisory Committee of IFCO. So she's going to be reading the physician's oath in Spanish and in English. After she reads it in Spanish, you all will listen and you will say in chorus, "Lo juramos" at the end. And then in English, you will say, "We pledge" at the end. So over to you, Dr. Patterson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adri. And it's a real honor to be here. Congratulations, all of you. El juramento del médico. Me comprometo solemnemente a consagrar mi vida al servicio de la humanidad. Daré a mis maestros el respeto y la gratitud que se merecen. La salud de mi paciente será mi primera consideración. Respetaré los secretos que me son confiados. Mantendré por todos los medios en mi poder el honor y las nobles tradiciones de la profesión médica. Mis colegas serán mis hermanos y hermanas. No permitiré que las consideraciones de religión, nacionalidad, raza, género, política, posición socioeconómica u orientación sexual intervengan entre mi deber y mi paciente. Mantendré el máximo respeto por la vida humana, incluso bajo amenaza. No utilizaré mi conocimiento médico en contra de las leyes de la humanidad y realizo estas promesas solemnemente, libremente y por mi honor. En coro, por favor, lo juramos. Lo juramos.
Unmute yourself.
¿Ustedes? Lo
juramos.
Lo juramos.
Logramos.
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 The physician's oath. I solemnly pledge myself to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give to my teachers the respect and gratitude which is their due. The health of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the secrets which are confided in me. I will maintain by all the means in my power the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. My colleagues will be my brothers and my sisters. I will not permit considerations of religion, nationality, race, gender, politics, socioeconomic standing, or sexual orientation to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life, even under threat. I will not use my medical knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. I will make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. I pledge. Please say, I pledge.
I
pledge. I pledge.
I pledge.
Thank you.
Thank you, and an applause for all our graduates. It's an honor to be in this community of healers. We have a huge task ahead of us, but we have been supported by our communities and our leaders, among whom are some of those who are part of the Congressional Black Caucus. And namely, we have the opportunity to have the delivery of the Congressional Proclamation, which is done annually by the Honorable Barbara Lee, will be read to us by Mrs. Catherine Hall Trujillo, who most of us know as Mama Cat. She is an educator of over 30 years as a public health administrator, community health educator, and advocate in the public health and public and private sectors. Her experience in understanding, translating, and bridging policy, administration, services, delivery, and client cultures have earned her national and international recognition. The Birthing Project model has been replicated in almost 100 communities in the US, Canada, Central America, and Africa. The Birthing Project is the baby of Mama Cat, and she has shared that in the history of US ELAM grads with ELAM grads participating fully in that project. And she always proudly tells us that her first doctor was from the ELAM project. The first doctor that could work on her birthing project and make it official was an ELAM graduate, the one that you just heard from, Dr. Sarpo Mason. So without further ado, Mama Cat, please take it away.
This is one of my favorite moments. I'm a midwife, and when I heard about the offer to the United States of an opportunity for our students to go to Cuba, become world-class doctors, and not have a great debt when they graduated, so that they could come and work in organizations like mine. The Birthing Project had the first and still may be the only organization that was a grassroots community-based organization that provided comprehensive maternal and infant health care to the community at a grassroots level. But we were all midwives and we couldn't afford to hire a doctor. And as students would come and volunteer with us, they would say, when I become a real doctor, I'm going to come back here and work with you. But when students, I see you, Olive, when students became real physicians, they owed at least $350,000, and they could not come back and work with us at a midwife salary. And so I think I beat the first class to Havana to be there, to just see what I could do to support you in getting through that process, so that maybe when you graduated, one of you would want to come back and be a part of us. And as you just heard, now we have a international medical director, Dr. Sapoma, because when she graduated and got that first job at Kaiser, she realized, I don't have to work at Kaiser. I don't owe $350,000. I can work for myself and still have time to do volunteer work for the Birthing Project. So since the very first class graduated, it has been my job and my honor to present you this proclamation from Congresswoman Barbara Lee. And if you actually visit her office in Oakland, you'll see that every year she hangs on the entry wall the current picture of the class. So you will be the class that's there, and a good looking class you are. This is what she has to say to you. This is from Congresswoman Barbara Lee from the United States Congress of the 13th District in California. Greetings. Dear US ELAM graduates, it is my pleasure to congratulate you upon your graduation from the Latin American School of Medicine, ELAM. For more than a decade, the Latin American School
It's been an hour and a half.
That was her soundtrack. For more than a decade, the Latin American School of Medicine, in partnership with IFCO Pastors for Peace, has provided education to diverse groups of students to increase the number of globally recognized and debt-free physicians who are available to care for underserved communities in the United States of America. I extend my most heartfelt congratulations to the following graduates. And this would be you, Dr. Samira, your turn.
Right on. We have Dr. Olive Albanese, Dr. Adonai Castillo, Dr. Sol Henrik Bockley, Dr. Corey Maurice Johnson, Dr. Joshua Johnson, Dr. Miramore, Dr. Naira Muhammad. Yay! Right on. Dr. Damasio Olarewaju Odusanya, Dr. Juan Manuel Ramos, Dr. Alexander Ruiz, Dr. Alexandra Skeeter, Dr. Darian Zubia.
And she wanted you to have something official from your government, because as you can see today, and if you had been at any other previous graduations, the government of Cuba, the professors you had, the communities and the families that welcomed you would have been at your graduation, and you would know how invested they have been and will continue to be in you. And she wanted you to know that your government, at this point, you know, she's the one that said that we can say Barbara Lee voted for me. Barbara Lee is saying to you, on behalf of California's 13th Congressional District, congratulations and best wishes in your future endeavors. Sincerely, Barbara Lee, Member of Congress. She's proud of you, as are so many others, and she has the courage to say it. Congratulations, and you'll always be my babies.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama Cat. We are grateful to the Honorable Barbara Lee and many other members of the Congressional Black Caucus, like Honorable Karen Bass, among others, who have supported and championed the cause of ELAM graduates over the years. But what the moment we've all been waiting for, because all of these beautiful people that we just saw, they're nice, but the real people that we are truly here to hear from are the graduates and their families. So we want to open up the floor for the graduates to give their messages, their personal, their messages that you want to share with all the people who are on the call today to support you, and all who could not be here as well, because this is a recorded event. You can pass it on later. So please kindly raise your hand so we know who would be speaking or wanting to speak, and we'll have some order. Or I could just pick you guys since you're feeling shy. We'll start with Dr. Sol Bockley.
Put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
You have to unmute yourself, Dr. Sol.
I forget how to. I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I'm just grateful to, so grateful to have been part of this program, to have been chosen by IFCO and Cuba to be able to attend this program as a medical student. And I'm really excited for this next chapter in my life. I'm really happy. I couldn't have asked for a better, I always said it throughout these seven years, I couldn't have picked a better group to be with. And thankfully our group only grew as the years went by. It's an amazing group of students and now physicians, and I'm so proud of you guys, and I love all of you guys, and it's cool to see you again. And thank you so much. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, IFCO, for putting this on, and thank you especially to IFCO Pastors for Peace and ELAM and the Cuban government and the revolution. None of this would have been possible without all those people. So thank you. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Right on. You can do it. Next, we have Dr. Olive Albanese.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to, this morning, I felt inspired to sing you all a song. And this song is to express my love for all of my classmates and my love for all the Cubans, my love for IFCO Pastors for Peace, Mama Cat. And first I wanted to say the word hobo comes from the words homeward bound. But what Cuba taught me is that my home It's always in my heart and in my body. So I feel at home wherever I am. So this song I learned from my days in North Carolina, which some of you might know. It's from the Be Good Tanyas, and you can sing along if you know it. Well, I feel like an old hobo, all sad and lonesome and blue. I was fair as a summer day. Now the summer days are through. Do you pass through places, or do places pass through you? Do you carry them with you on the soles of your traveling shoes? Well, I love you so dearly, I love you so clearly. I wake you up in the morning so early just to tell you I got these rambling blues. I got these rambling blues, and I'm gonna kill it these wandering ways one of these days soon. Oh, the littlest birds sing the prettiest songs. The littlest birds sing the prettiest songs. The littlest birds sing the prettiest songs. Okay, that's just part of the song, but you probably know the rest. Thank you all. I love you all, and I'll see you all again someday. Take care. Thank you, Samir, for organizing this. It's been a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Olive. Olive, I had the pleasure of being her roommate for quite some time, so it's a special moment, and she is who she is. Who you see, that is who Olive is. Very authentic and genuine. So thank you, Olive. Next, we can have Dr. Corey Maurice Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? First and foremost, I have to thank IFCO, our supporters. Thank you, everybody, for just supporting us the whole way through. It's been a long journey, and a struggle for us all, but we've made it through. We're all doctors, physicians of science and conscious. For me, it's been a wonderful journey. I've met a lot of people. Cuba really embraced us, and I definitely will never forget that. As you can see, I'm at work right now. Yeah, but I still made time to chime in, because IFCO in Cuba has given me so much and blessed me with this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Corey. And definitely always making the time, despite a busy and hardworking person that I've known him always to be. So we're honored that you could be with us tonight. Next, if we could have Dr. Miramore.
Good evening, everybody. Like my colleagues, I would first like to thank IFCO and Pastors for Peace and La Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicina for counting me among its graduates. I feel it is a great privilege and honor to have been selected to be a part of this class. I have great respect and admiration for each of my colleagues and for the graduates that have gone before us and for the students that come after us. And I will be forever grateful, and I have learned so much about medicine and beyond. So thank you.
Right on, Dr. Mira. Thank you so much. And we have, if we could have next, Dr. Alexandra Skeeter.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to first give a big thank you to everyone here tonight that is sharing their time and energy with me and all of us. IFCO for putting this on, and Cuba, MINSAP, And so I kind of just wrote a little open letter to all of us, to all of my classmates. No one told me the hardest part of medical school would be leaving. All of our classmates, we've been together for 7 years. A lot of us have learned Spanish together and medicine and so much about life and each other. And so this couple weeks of transition has been hard, but I'm so happy to see all of you right now. And so I just wanted to say congrats, doctor. We did it. This is to all of you. What a major accomplishment. I'm so proud of you for finishing, and for some of us are even ready to enter the match. I've been honored to share this special time with you. These years have been transformational for me and have been part of my evolution, and for that I am thankful. You all have in some way or another taught me to slow down, how to pay attention to detail, and really do a good job at whatever it is that I'm doing. To Cubans that I've met, thank you for teaching me through your actions mindfulness, which is a beautiful nuance of consciousness that I'll be able to carry with me for the rest of my life, this life. I pray all of us never lose our patience, our enthusiasm, for this is what makes us so special and unique. And what a complete joy it's been to walk through all of this with all of you. So special thanks to my mother, my sister, my professors, my friends, and my family. Yeah, what a special time in our lives. And so just, I'm proud of you all. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of us. Pa'lante, no?
Right on, Dr. Alexandra. That's the message. Forward ever, backwards never. So you all have the charge. Next we can have Dr. Naira Muhammad.
Good evening, everyone. I first want to start off by giving a special thank you to IFCO. I think somebody's mic is unmuted. I first want to give a special shout out to IFCO for hosting this event and for selecting me to be one of the students to embark on this journey in Cuba. Like So said, I'm very grateful for my classmates and those who I went through this journey with. We had a very special class, and thank you to everybody who joined on to celebrate this monumental moment for us. And special shout out to Dr. Barbara. It was so good to see her. She was one of the first people that was there. Manolo, who went to Mexico with us, Mama Cat for the women's retreat, and all of the graduates who came before us and paved the way. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you, Dr. Naira. And I even think we have Manolo on the call, so that's awesome. He was part of that journey. And next we can have Dr. Darian Zubia, please.
Well, I definitely wasn't expecting to speak, so I'm gonna ad-lib here. Un gusto verlos, todos mis compañeros, compañeras, médicos de ciencia y conciencia. I'm really proud to be here. Hold on. The sound's messed up. Hold on.
Do you have a phone connected as well? You might have to cut off or mute the other.
Got it? Okay. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. Yeah, it's great to see all of you virtually. I've definitely been, I guess, having withdraw from the social contact that we are so used to having in Cuba and all the love and community that we have built. Those long and arduous, sometimes painful meetings, getting all our MSPEs and all that stuff done was definitely a nice moment to look back on now, and I'm definitely missing all of you. Special thanks to IFCO, Cuba, el pueblo cubano, all the people that are in the background and making things happen for us. We are eternally grateful and will multiply your efforts 1,000-fold and make sure that all the effort and time we've spent studying, learning, being in Cuba will not be in vain, And I definitely know that many people on this call right now are going to do some amazing things. So I look forward to working with y'all, and send my love and blessings to everyone.
Right on, Dr. Darian. Thank you. And we have Dr. Alexander Ruiz.
Didn't really expect to be the last one, but I wanted to, I guess like the theme for me is thankfulness, you know, to the family that we have, our biological family and the chosen family that we found both in my home in Cuba and my home here, well, our home now, you know, including Samira, Dr. Barber, Gail, Mama Cat, and all of you at IFCO, as well as my, well, the family in my year who have made such a great impact on my life. And I'm looking forward to seeing where we all go. I think if I've learned that amongst ourselves, we've developed a community and that we can rely on one another, and that we know that we can continue on to have to hold up each other as we go on our path forward. And I'm thankful that we have built, what we've built can continue on even past our medical school journey. And I can't wait to see how we grow from this. And I can't wait to see the change that we will make as we move forward. And thank you all for making it happen.
Right on, Dr. Alexander. But I don't think you're the last. We've been trying to wait for our other comrades, Dr. Joshua and Dr. Damasio, to reconnect because they are on the island and the connectivity was a little bit unstable. But I think they're back, and we'll add them on the screen so everybody can see them. Right on. So they're doing rock, paper, scissors to see who's gonna speak first. Unbelievable. Right on.
Yeah, as you can see, I definitely lost that one. So I kind of echo what everybody else said. I'm so grateful, first off, to be accepted into the scholarship program 7 years ago. Man, it's funny how time flies. To think about who we were when we first got there, who we were when we went to, actually who we were in the interview process in New York. It's crazy. First time I met Dr. Barber, first time I met Gail, first time I met my cohort of students. It's crazy to think about then and now how far we've come. Literally, look how far we've come. So I'm so grateful to IFCO, to Reverend Lucius Walker, to Fidel, just for having the vision and the foresight to start this program. Definitely, again, to the 11 of us, you know, the original other 9 of us that started this, minus Greg, but then to Olive, to Darian, and then to Corey, we gained along the way. Man, it's funny, family is, you know, people who you have no control over who it is, but y'all truly had become another family out in Cuba. So to say that I'm grateful to have gone through this with y'all is an understatement. And most definitely to the graduates that came before us, to the ones who were there and just helped us along the way. We thank you as well. I thank you as well. And most importantly, to my support system, to my people back at home, to my mom, to my pops, all the people who are here that I invited. Literally, I thank y'all for all the sacrifices that y'all made. If it wasn't for y'all, there would be no me. So this is just as much a celebration of me and my accomplishments as it is for y'all and y'all's accomplishments. So I'm so grateful for y'all's support. Thank you for everything. I love y'all, and seguimos para adelante.
Right on, Dr. Joshua.
Congratulations.
Yay, the family chiming in. Right on.
There you go. first off, I want to thank God, you know, for having me here today. I want to thank him, the Most High, because there's a lot of people that, you know, are not able to say, I'm alive today or not taking breath today. So I want to thank IFCO for showing me the opportunity to do something I've always wanted to do all my life. And it really does feel good to be able to know now that all the dreams that I've been dreaming of becoming a doctor and helping my people, you know, helping my people in the States, helping my people back in Africa. Now I know that IFCO really gave me that opportunity to be able to accomplish that. And I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful to the La Gente Cubana for ayudándome, giving me all the skills that I need to be able to help people around the world, help everybody who needs help that can't help themselves. I'm real grateful for all my classmates, you know, like we've kept each other accountable. We've kept each other, you know, sane, you know, we pushed each other to achieve greatness here. And I believe that, I believe that we were probably one of the best classes that I ever saw ELAM, you know. Hands down. And I believe that that we're going to continue to do even greater things as we, you know, each have our own walks to pass our lives. And I'm looking forward to be able to connect with a lot of you to do great things, you know, whether it's in the States, whether it's wherever you are, just a call away, a message away, a Facebook message away.
Did we freeze out?
Looks like it.
Okay. Well,
hopefully
yep,
he's come together, you know, and we've been taught here to, as well as the. Y'all hear something? Okay, well, I'm just gonna cut it short since, you know, la Cuba, la conexión.
We love y'all, and for definitely persisting and sticking through the program, despite the storm and the hurricane that's passing. So right on, Dr. Damasio and Dr. Joshua. We will now open the floor to family and friends who wanna give a message. We don't wanna limit your words or your time of your messages, but we are at past the 2-hour mark. And we want to get to as many people who want to speak as possible. So just, you know, kindly raise your hand and the admins will give you the go-ahead to speak. I can't see who's raising their hands, so that would be Gail and Angie, please.
Are they raising your hands virtually or personally? I don't see anything yet.
Nobody? And you also have to unmute yourself before we can hear you. Two participants, I see, raise their hand. We have Mama Rebecca Skeeter has her hand raised.
So you have Rebecca Skeeter, Alex Skeeter's mom.
This is real difficult because from the time of the opening song, I've been bawling. But I just want to congratulate all of the doctors in the house. It's just been a journey, as everyone has been talked about. I can think about conversations of trials, of joys. When Alex would call me, talking about all of the difficulties, but those things that have made the journey just so successful also. And that's thanks to IFCO and to the Cuban government Alex has wanted to be a doctor for many years. I used to have to yell at her in the doctor's office because she would be touching everything in the doctor's office. And I said, Alex, stop, the doctor's coming. So stop. Anyway, I just want to congratulate to all of you and just a ton of thanks to IFCO and everyone behind the scenes. Love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Renee, is it Renee Coleman? Renee?
Yes, it is. Thank you. So yes, my name is Renee Coleman, and I am so proud of my cousin, Josh. He has been through a lot, and so to see him here at this point, I'm so proud of him, and he is going to do wonderful things in the field of medicine. So I just want to say I love you, cousin, and I'm going to continue praying for you, and thank you so much for correctly diagnosing me 2 years before any doctor here in the States did. So you're well on your way. And you want to say something? Okay.
Cousin Josh, it's great to meet you and to know you and to know that all you will accomplish. And I'm just looking forward to being able to shake your hand one day and saying thank you for being a part of this fight.
Love you.
Right on.
Already hard at work, Josh. Let's see. Olive Albanese.
Good evening. Oh, can you hear me now? Good evening. I'm Albanese, and I'm very proud of my daughter and of all the accomplishments she's had. I want to give thanks and just shout glory, hallelujah to ELAM and to the Cuban and to IFCO, because I know that without your help, Olive would have never been able to become a doctor. So I just give glory and thanks to God for this wonderful privilege of being a doctor. Thank you all. And congratulations to all the doctors.
Right on.
Excellent. How about Michael Woods, ELAM grad?
Well, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
First I would like to say congratulations, new graduates. I would say here, I know Melissa knows me. She was like a big sister to me, I would say. But one thing I came on a little late that I must say, I'm a minister too at my church, but I must say who was like a father to me. I must give my respect to Reverend Lucius Walker, who always has a deep part of my heart and will always be a part of me. Who I think about, who's just always just a part of my heart, is just I must give my respects. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him, for Reverend Walker. And throughout my time with ELAM, I could always go to him. And the purpose behind the program, the reasoning behind why it was created, and still to this day, as I was talking with Ms. Walker, Gail Walker, I let her know how I still put that into action, what I do, how I'm still focused on giving back to the community, which is underserved, and for equality, to which I still do. Still, like I tell her, like my aim is giving back to those underserved areas, to where with my MD, I gained an MPH. And with that, like my new position now will be with CDC. And with my public health, I have more of a grand focus and focus on that equality and on that community. So know that as leaders, we can do so much. There's so much we can do. Utilize those goals through which ELAM gave us can be implemented in so much. Know that. So please, I can keep talking, but congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
That's it.
Right on. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Darian Zubia. Hey.
I wanted, sorry.
Fix the mic first.
I wanted to talk for my dad here and for everyone else. Honestly, I just can't believe this moment has come. To be raised in the process of all these amazing people becoming doctors, it's just like something I can't believe I can say, and I can't believe that now I have the privilege to call everyone a doctor, and it's amazing to see all of you guys just get to this point and watch me grow, watch everyone grow personally. It's like, wow, my head is spinning. Thank you. Congratulations.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Maria Watson.
Hi, I wanted to speak on behalf of Dr. Joshua Johnson. I know how far you've come in this whole process, and I can't wait to see everything else that's coming for you. So gear up, because it's going to be a lot of newness, wonderfulness, and you deserve it. Don't shy away from anything. Congrats.
Right on.
Excellent. Let's go to Art Heitzer. Good old Art Heitzer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
So just want to say, Reverend Barbara says that pride is a sin. So we are deeply honored in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our coalition to normalize relations with Cuba, to know and to have seen the beautiful growth of especially the ELAM students, Olive and Alex from our state, and we're just so inspired, and everyone else the same thing. But very, very honored to be able to know and work with y'all. And of course, Lucius. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And let's stick with Milwaukee. How about Babette Brunau? Brunau, is it Babette? You're there, Babette?
Yes.
Trying to unmute.
Okay.
Right. All right. I'm glad I would say then I don't have to say anything to the Cuba Coalition, but I will say something for myself and for Latin American Solidarity Committee here in Milwaukee. Wanted to thank particularly Olive and Alex, because they came and spoke at many university events, many church events, and it was always wonderful to have them. And it was great writing back and forth and just sharing a little bit the process that they were going through. And we'd love to have them back on The Grass is Greener on WXW. We are going to be an hour program, and we'd like to have them as the first guests on our show. So hope to see you early in September.
Thank you, Babette. And how about Naira Muhammad?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank, Allah God for the partnership that the Nation of Islam had created with IFCO, because if it had not been for that relationship with Reverend Walker, we would not even had known to even pursue this journey or this course for Naira. And we are so thankful for all the hard work of your team, Gail, Dr. Barber, and it's been phenomenal, the support that you've provided here in the States, as well as those that you have on the island. And I've been there several times and have met some of these wonderful students and kind of have adopted them as my other children as well. And I'm so proud of all of you. May God continue to bless you all on this journey. And just know that you all are so well trained. I work in the medical field on an administrative level, and really no one can touch, you know, what you have learned, not only in the classroom, but outside, the things that you had to endure and work through. And even over this last year through the pandemic, and I was supposed to travel there a third time, but because of the pandemic, could never get there. So, and I'm grateful just for the support, especially during this time that IFCO gave to the students and making this a reality. So cheers and hats off to you all. Many blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Charles Coleman.
Good evening. I first want to say how very proud I am of my son Joshua. We here in Dallas, both Connor and Robin and the rest of the family, are so very proud of him. Secondarily, I had the opportunity to meet Sol, Josh, and Alex midway through their progression, and just want to continue to encourage not only those three, but the whole group of you to continue your collaboration. Use the strength of this graduating class to change the world. You are visionary. We expect a lot of you, and you're very capable of delivering. God bless. We're so proud of you.
We love you, Josh. Congratulations.
That's great. Thank you. Alexander Ruiz, mi hermano.
Sorry. Okay. Hi, my name is Margarita. I'm speaking on behalf of my brother, Alexander Ruiz. I just want to say that I'm very proud of him. This has been like a long journey. I remember 7 years ago when he began, when he left to Cuba to start medical school. I was in college. And, we both were doing college for medicine. I ended up doing social work. He continued with medicine. And, it was really hard having him go away, especially because we're so close. But it's definitely been a great journey, a long one for that matter, but it's definitely worth it in the end. And, congrats to everyone who has also been, it's not easy sticking to something, especially with so many trials and tribulations, constantly, I'm sure a lot of thoughts like, is this worth it? But now that he's a doctor and I'm a social worker, I hope we can, open a clinic one of these days, or maybe a hospital. So, but I'm, congrats to everyone. I'm proud of, my brother, but also of everyone, because nothing is easy, but then, nothing that's easy is worth it. So congrats to all of you.
Nice, very nice, very nice. So we'll make the turn. Let's see, Marcia Crowell.
Yes, hello everyone. Congratulations from Canada. Thank you, Gail, for including us. We had to come in a little bit late. I'm so sorry. I don't want to hear everyone. But congratulations to all the new graduates and the previous graduates. My husband and I work with Cuba in education. We are part of the literacy campaign, both in New Zealand and Canada. And we've had the pleasure of going to ELAM and visiting, and we hope one day that many of our Indigenous communities, of which both of us are part of, can join your classes. And we're just so proud of you. I just can't tell you. I'm originally from the States, and my husband's originally from New Zealand, and but we live here now in Ottawa. So all the very, very best to you. We know you're the best trained in the world. And I'm grateful, Gail, for you carrying on the work that your dad started. And anything we can do to support, please let us know. We're part of Ottawa Cuba Connection. And yeah. And thank you, Dr. Barber. I just loved what you had to say. So thanks again. Congratulations.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. This is an example of that, right? That international support. Faces you never know, but thank you, Marcia. And Ottawa Connections has been so supportive of ELAM over the years. We're grateful to you. Bamboshi. Chango. You there, Bambosi?
Yes,
right.
unmute.
There
okay,
you
I was muted.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you and IFCO and ELAM and the Cuban government for producing these wonderful doctors. I think, to paraphrase Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, who, in speaking of the new African that is needed, I would say even more than just the new African, but the new doctor that's needed, a honest, modest, informed doctor, a doctor who abhorred greed and detests vanity, a doctor who would submit his interests for the interests of the people. This kind of doctor that ELAM is producing is definitely needed, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And it is an example, an extreme example of why the immoral, illegal, and racist blockade on Cuba must be lifted. Thank you, and thanks to the doctors.
Thank you, Bambosi. Very, very important words. Miramore's mom, where are you? You wanted to speak.
Hi, I'm Miramore's mom. Big shout out to the graduates. I met most of you. I met Sol and Naira and Joshua and Alexandra and Alexander and Olive. And now we'll look at the rest of the list, see who and Damasio. I met Damasio a long time ago. And I send greetings also to Corey and Darian and Juan Manuel. So I came to your school a few times. I'm a family doctor, and I came to make sure that the training was good. The training is very good. You can be confident as you are interviewed that you will shine among your peers, and you will be wanted where you go. I also want to thank each one of you of this class for the care that you offered my daughter. All of your parents were worried about you while you were gone. And you were Mira's family. And I am grateful. And now you are our family.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're all grateful for what Cuba provides and agree with you that it is a very good program. Rita, my dear friend Rita, where are you?
Hi, Gail.
I can't find you in the sea of, there you are. Okay, hi, how are you?
I'm here. Hi, wonderful to see you. Oh, let me just,
All right, the lighting is weird, but anyway, this is so wonderful. This is one of the evenings that I look forward to all year. I'm a medical social worker, and I had the privilege of working with some of the ELAM graduates at the Regional Medical Center here in Contra Costa. And, you know, saw number one, I want you to know everyone was so well received. And, you know, you embody the values. You'll be teaching your colleagues. You will teach by example. To me, this is one of the most exciting and important and real projects of internationalism that we have. And every aspect of it is brilliant. And it's been wonderful to watch it grow. I first visited the ELAM in, I think, 98. And, you know, back then they showed us the pins on the map of where everyone was from. And there were much fewer US graduates, of course. So I give enormous credit to everyone who has found the ways to sustain this. It's a formidable effort. There's nothing simple or easy about it. You know, as students, you know the beauty and the richness of the Cuban people, and I'm sure that has added to your journey immensely. You know, but at this point, it's about being that example here. There couldn't be a more important moment to show what Cuba is really about and what medicine with conscience is about coming from Cuba. And the more that you can make those connections and stand proud and strong and tell them where you learned what you learned, I will be grateful for that. And you know, I pledge to continue to support the project as much as I can through the years. And just, you know, oh, one last thing is you'll be able to interface. I have to say this as a longtime medical social worker. Please work closely. I know you will, because that's what you do as teams in Cuba, but it's different here. And the more you can ally and amplify your efforts of, you know, working with your social work colleagues, as well as other allied professionals, that I think is how you will make a real difference in the institutions, because it's not easy to change them from within, but by teaming up with the people who share your values, it'll work. So thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you, Rita. Rita's a big friend of Cuba and Cuba's healthcare, and we appreciate your being here. Great. Well, I think that's it. I just want to say one quick word to graduates. This isn't the end. We're gonna keep on trying to kind of connect with you. Please stay in touch. Let us know where you are, what you're up to. If there's ways that we can, you know, be supportive. You know, we're constantly expanding between the medical advisory committee, the staff, you know, looking at different ways of trying to do the work, but keep us posted. You know, there's not perfection here, but we're doing the best we can, and we're only strengthened, we're only made better by the support of all of you, all of the graduates. So don't let this be the end of the connection, and please, please, please stay connected and keep us posted on all that you do, and suggestions and ideas that you have for ways that we can improve the project. So congratulations. You did it. You did it. I'm going to pass it over to Samira to bring us to the last bit of a close.
The last bit of a close. Right on. Important to also mention a critical member of the IFCO team who unfortunately couldn't connect to the call today. You all know her, our beloved Dr. Michelle Frank, who has worked intimately with you all, especially in this last year, if not before, in different ways. But, you know, we have to bring her up because she has been the woman on the ground through all of this, especially during this pandemic where transportation or just travel was incredibly hard for IFCO to get back and forth, for different aspects of the project to carry on. Without, you know, her being there on the ground, a lot would have fallen through the cracks. And she always mentioned how consistent you all were as graduates at that time, final year students, supporting her in, you know, keeping things organized and moving along the process. So her words and her love to you all, and major congratulations to you all on her behalf, to you all. I wanted to bring that to the fore. And let's not forget Dr. Frank. Also, finally, we have closing remarks, which will be given by Dr. Mary Louise Patterson. You have to unmute, Mary Lou.
Yeah. This has been a fantastic evening. A little bit of an endurance, but in terms of the time, but it's been wonderful. And the words that were shared, especially Dr. Barber's and the ambassador, our dear ambassador from Cuba. And I'm glad that this was recorded so that we can go back and listen again, because I think those words are really important. So my dear doctores de ciencia y conciencia, Olive and Sol and Adonai, Corey, Joshua, Mira, Naira, Damasio, Juan, Alexander, Alexandra, and Darian. 7 years ago, all of you left the United States, your native country, to study medicine. You were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, thought you were ready for whatever was coming, which was partially true. You were a tad anxious, a wee bit afraid, but eager and happy and expectant and determined. Some of you were lugging, pushing, or dragging 4 100-pound suitcases too. Remember? That you were only slightly ready for what you were to encounter wasn't your fault. You'd been to our orientation where we tried our best to paint the picture for you. You talked with students there. Some of you had read about Cuba and or talked to Cuban expats, yet there was no way you could have been totally prepared for what you encountered, right? You had to be there to feel it, smell it, touch it, taste it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. You had to experience living and learning in a country that was pulling itself out of centuries of your country's imposed underdevelopment and poverty, while crippled by your country's current criminal economic blockade. Well, you adapted, you survived, you did it, you triumphed, you finished the race, you graduated from the best, one of the best medical schools in the entire world. You overcame all the challenges, big and small, serial or single, stupid and exasperating, painful, and make you want to holler maddening, but also resiliency and wisdom building kinds. And all of that was happening at the same time you were forging real friendships in our delegation, the US delegation, and beyond. Friendships that will last your lifetimes, with memories and crazy stories and tales that you'll tell and retell and laugh at to the rest of your days. The dedication of your teachers and the administration was living proof of the program's commitment to your dream. They taught you that you were indeed your brothers and sisters' keeper, right? Your cohort helped you and you to dig down inside yourselves and find the strength to stay positive, to keep your eye on the prize, to work out the big problems, and to try not to let the petty ones derail you. And as a result, your character and spirit grew, your eyes opened wider, your vision sharpened, your understanding deepened, you formulated profounder questions, gained real skills. You matured, always becoming more self-reflective, self-confident, self-aware, and aware of the world in which you live. Now, 7 years later, you, a new batch of doctors, emerge out of the proven Cuban experience, strong, hopeful, positive, self-reliant, well and roundedly educated in medicine and life, competent, beautiful, fluent in Spanish, multiculturally savvy, compassionate, focused, Maduro's experts, right? Salsa swinging, rum swilling, and skilled in what it takes to achieve even when everything seems to be or is stacked against you, like the ECFMG. You learned what we, your people, truly need to be healthy, happy, productive, to flourish and realize our innate potential. And you learned how to be excellent healthcare, how to bring excellent healthcare to us, even when you had no resources other than your stethoscope, your otoscope, your blood pressure cuff, and yourselves. You learned and practiced medicine in a country that provides it free to everyone. And even as they were running out of antibiotics and syringes, not even an aspirin pill to be found, you were taught how to keep on keeping on. Yes, living and learning in an environment that puts people first, no matter how hard that is to accomplish, especially when up against a vicious Goliath. That can bring people closer together, can make them more easily want to help one another, to brainstorm solutions, increase their participation in and knowledge of their health, and collaborate better with you in the provision of their health care. You lived that, you felt that, you know that, you were forged in that cauldron. Well, now you're back in Babylon with full-time 24-hour take for granted water when you turn on the tap, 24-hour electricity when you flick the switch, 24-hour ready transportation when you click the Uber or Lyft button on your 24-hour reliably working cell phone. Yes, you may still have exams to pass and the match to make first, but after you've done that, you'll have all the resources and latest medical gadgets at your fingertips. But will your patients have the money to afford them? Will they live close enough to them to get to them in time? When they get there, will the medical staff make all those resources available to them, attend to them in a timely fashion, or treat them with dignity and respect? I know you will. Case in point, Dr. Susan Moore. If you're not familiar with her name, do look it up on Google. Well, the Cuban people have gifted you a free medical education so that you would commit all you've learned and accomplished to your community, your people, to help better their chances to make it in this world. So hopefully you will repay them by doing just that, but not only that, but that you will also try to bring clean air and water, decent affordable housing, living wage jobs, free quality, non-racist or biased universal health care that's equitably distributed to all who live here, because those are the minimum requirements a people must have if they are to be truly healthy. And you learned that in Cuba. Will you join other doctors and healthcare providers and ordinary community folk who are struggling to bring those basic human essentials mentioned above to everyone? Remember, this for-profit medical system is hell-bent on seducing you into practicing medicine for your own personal aggrandizement and financial success. We, the Medical Advisory Committee at IFCO, are very proud of you. And we hope you will get involved with recruitment of our new students, of mentoring them while they are in Cuba, and help them find externships and residencies when they're here during the summers and after they graduate and finally return. So oceans of hurrahs and congratulations on your success. Welcome home, our dear doctors. We've been waiting for you.
Right on. Thank you, Dr. Mary Louise Patterson, for that powerful closing to a wonderful program. Each year got better. Last year was the first virtual ceremony. This year is the second. If it has to go on and on, we will come and we will be ready. And in this particular event, we were blessed with supporters of ELAM and of IFCO joining from all parts of the world, and ELAM grads and current students also joining to support, as well as family. So this was a big event, and we want to, give special thanks to the many who are behind the scenes, who have worked to make this moment possible. First off, MINSAP, ECAP, MINSEX, MINREX, and the Cuban people. the Honorable Ambassador Yuri Gala, Honorable Barbara Lee and her staff, the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, Dr. Michelle Strongfields, Reverend Dolimar LeBron, Dr. Melissa Barber, Dr. Sarpo Mason, Dr. Mary Louise Patterson, Mrs. Catherine Hall Trujillo, Dr. Joaquin Morante, Dr. Rob Andrews, Dr. Andrea Lyman, Dr. Sapphire Ahmed, Dr. Maxine Orris, Dr. Michelle Frank, Dr. Tom Naparst, U.S. ELAM Student Delegation, the Board of IFCO, the Board of Directors, who we are honored to have the President of the Board on with us. Thank you, President Michael, for joining us. And IFCO staff, you know, we are the dream team. We're a little slim, but we work hard. So I always want you all to remember that Fidel taught us that para ser médico se requiere una sensibilidad exquisita, una gran calidad humana, gran capacidad intelectual y una moral a toda prueba. Adelante, hasta la victoria siempre. Thank you all and good night. Thank you for joining us.